Hello, welcome to Drawing with Bubbles. Today I am drawing Tinkerbell from, well, either Peter Pan or Tinkerbell, whichever you'd like. This picture was requested by Josie Carpenter, and I had a lot of fun drawing it, I have to say, so thank you for requesting it. It was a great idea, and I was especially stumped this week before I came across it. So here we are, working on the sketch. Not too much to say about this. Following my normal routine, one thing I did differently is I tried to take a bit of a more stylized approach. I mean, I'm not saying that my drawings are realistic by far, not even close. All my drawings are stylized, but in this picture, since she's like a fairy tale character anyways, I made her eyes even bigger and just her features a bit more defined than I would normally, which, not that big of a difference since I'm usually very stylized with what I do, but I just took it a little bit further this time to see how it would look. I am pretty happy with how it is. The only thing is that I would not do this on other characters, like an actual human being. I don't think it would look right with how I draw. So with this picture, it only took me one sketch layer plus the thumbnail because I spent a little bit more time on the thumbnail than usual, actually getting it defined, so it kind of just served in itself as the first sketch layer. So right now, you can see I'm trying to do the line art on our crossed arms, and it took me a couple of tries. This one is not what I go with. I try that one now, and then I also don't like it. So then I just try doing kind of like an x-ray sketch where I sketch out both of the arms and then just line it over that. And it's not perfect, it still looks kind of not right to me, but it's a lot better than the other ones. Now I'm working on the line art on that flower, which was very simple. I actually was almost going directly off of a reference for this flower, so it doesn't look exactly like it. It's not perfect, but I still like how it looks like a real flower that she's sitting in, even though realistically it'd probably be drooping a bit more with her weight, but whatever, she's a fairy, she can be light if I want her to. Now I'm starting on the coloring on the skin, which I started with like my pretty standard colors, but I did end up changing it afterwards. So I did all the shading on the skin on its own layer, and then after I was done, I zoomed out just to see how it was looking, and it just looked really pink and not in a good way. So I just went, in my program Krita, it's just Control U, and that's the hue, saturation, and lightness bar, and I just changed the hue a bit more to a warmer tone, and I liked it a lot better right away. And it wasn't even that much work at all. It was hardly any work. So I would definitely recommend that if something looks not quite right with your color, just go into the hue, saturation, lightness bar, and it'll solve it instantly. It's like magic. So now I am starting on Tinkerbell's hair, which I mentioned last week in my Easter video that I was trying a new style with the shading of the hair. I tried that again this week, just a little, a couple of tweaks, and I'm still liking it. I feel like I'm still trying to get down the actual texture of hair, but I do like how it looks. It just, like I said last week, still needs some work. And I did for some blush on her cheeks. Her face didn't look like it had quite enough life in it, so I just used, on a separate layer, I used a pink and I did 2 radial gradients, then I lowered the opacity and set that layer on multiply, and it just added a bit more pink in her cheeks. Now I am coloring the eyes, which I just did, well, I didn't have a reference picture open, so I was really hoping that her eyes were blue, because that's what I remembered, but I didn't want to pull up an image, so luckily I look it up now, her eyes are blue, so I was glad for that. Now I'm starting on the coloring of the flower. This one took a few adjustments to get right, because I was looking at the reference image at first, but I couldn't pick colors from it because the lighting in that reference is very different from the lighting in my picture. So I kind of just like translated it into my lighting, but it still didn't look quite right because those petals that curl up in front are in shadow, but I couldn't quite figure out the right hue for that shadow, so that took a couple tries, but I think I'm okay with it now. And then I was just finishing up the coloring on the stem and the outside part. And now I'm starting on the flowers in the background. So I just sampled the colors from my foreground flower, and these ones took a lot less time because I didn't do line art, and I only did one, and then I just transformed the other one to make a different one facing a different direction. And then later I'm going to apply a blur on it, so it's actually like the background. So it didn't need that much definition, and line art would really just make it look muddy. And then I added a gradient just to make it more backgroundy, and here is the finished illustration. Remember to rate, comment your suggestions down below, and subscribe. Bye!